All right. Wasn't really intending to record this session, but at your wish, your desire, I'll go ahead and do that. We're looking to review right now for the final exam. I've kind of done some overkill here, like writing a bunch of questions, even more than I was anticipating. The test is obviously not going to be even half this long, but we will get through what we can get through, and hopefully we'll get through all of it. But we need to get started because it's a lot. All right, so what's the difference between a noun in the construct state, that is a noun that is nismach, and a noun in the absolute state that in Hebrew we call somech? Somech and nismach, like somech is the one that's standing and giving the support, and nismach is the one that's being supported. What's the difference? Construct state and absolute state, what's that mean?
Are you talking about morphological or semantic differences?
Just kind of how they work, what the different states do. I guess a pragmatic approach to it.
I always just simplistically think of, well, the construct can be used for many different things, but I tend to think of it as just the person or the noun that owns whatever is in the absolute state.
Like a possession, right?
Yeah, I mean, or, yeah, that's, I guess that's because that was the first use of the construct state that I originally learned. So that's the one that sticks in my brain, but I know there's a list.
Could you give an example, maybe just with English words to show how it works? You don't need necessarily to come up with a Hebrew example, but could you?
Well, the father's son, so father would be the construct and son absolute.
Father's son would be in Hebrew the son of the father.
Oh,
so
I got it.
Father would be absolute.
Well, there you go. I got it back to front then.
That's all right, but it's like that of relationship. Oftentimes the construct could be being defined by the absolute or vice versa. So like if it says a kingdom of glory, it really means a glorious kingdom. Yeah. A statue of gold is like a gold statue or a golden statue. It tells what it's made of, or it can describe it, right? Cool. How do you recognize, or how can you recognize the construct state? Ward, what do you think about that?
Well, if I remember, for the masculine singular, it has to be by context.
Mm-hmm.
For masculine plural, the im changes to a stereod. For the feminine singular, the patah he changes to a patatav. And the feminine plural,
the kamatz he turns into patach.
Oh, kamatz, right, kamatz. Hey, yeah. And for the feminine plural, it doesn't change. It just stays oh.
Okay, but there could be some internal vocalic changes as well, like like davar becomes davar, right? A shortening of the. It depends on like how the syllable, if it becomes a distant syllable, because if it becomes distant, it tries to reduce, right?
Yeah, the accent moves to the absolute.
Also, the whole idea of having two nouns butted up against each other, that's a good indication that it's probably construct. You should see if it is. All right, can adjectives appear in the construct state? And if so, can you think of any examples? Again, giving an example in English would be fine if this is possible. Hoshea, what do you think?
Yes. The example that I can think of is the word tzedek, righteous, or no.
Sadiq, right?
Tzaddik. So, king of righteous. Tov na lang pala. Tov.
You could use tov. But how could the adjective be used in the construct?
Construct, like king of good. The good. Oh, hindi pala. No, sorry.
Remember that adjectives can be used substantively. Like you can say, like Echacham is the wise man.
Okay.
Echacham. So we could say that someone is wise of heart,
Wise of
and it's a person with a wise heart, right?
Mm.
He's good of heart. He's good-hearted.
Good of.
He is heavy of speech. Means that he has heavy speech, right?
Mm.
So adjectives can be used in these kind of descriptive ways. I like to take examples from Harry Potter, because I've got the Harry Potter series in Hebrew, and one of the things I remember that when they were describing Harry's aunt and uncle, they said that he was large of proportion, Uncle Vernon.
Mm.
That's a cute description. All right, what are the normal endings for the plural masculine nouns? John, we'll come back to you. But you're on mute right now. Sorry.
Een is the
Yeah,
one.
een. Right. And for feminine plural, what do you say, Ward?
Oat.
Oat. Good. Can you give some examples, Hoshea, maybe? Maybe give one example, and then we'll circle around and get others, of nouns that take the opposite endings for their gender. Like masculine nouns that take ot and, okay, av becomes in the
Avot.
plural. Avot. Good. John, you have another example?
The word for woman.
Yeah.
My recollection, I don't has a masculine.
Masculine looking
plural.
ending, right? So if
Ending.
it's if woman is isha, women is
Ishin.
nashim. Nashim. It's like ish, anashim, and you drop the aleph and you have nashim. Ward, do you have another example?
Oh, I think Ir and Arin, city.
Yeah, ir and arim, yeah, and it's feminine, but it ends in im. You might also say like shulchan is a table and shulchanot, but it's masculine. Malon, malonot, hotel or inn. There are quite a few of them actually. Mazleg, mazlegot, forks, words that you. Mazleg is used in the Bible because they use it to pull meat from the altar, a long fork. Number 7, do adjectives ever have the endings for a gender other than what they are modifying? So if arim is feminine, cities, when you have an adjective that modifies arim, will it ever say im? Will an adjective ever pull this trick that we see in nouns where they take the opposite ending?
No.
No.
No, it doesn't happen. But we do remember that numbers are not considered adjectives, right?
I was going to mention numbers, but so they're treated as nouns. And
so numbers will appear to have the opposite gender, but it really doesn't count because like shlosha, the a, is not a plural ending anyway, right? It's just a lengthening of the number. So the long form of the number goes with the masculine noun, the number ends in a, and the short form of the number goes with feminine nouns. It doesn't have a. It's never going to be like shloshot. It's only going to be shlosha. Arba'ah, not arba'ot. So it's not like they agree. It's not a normal adjective. So identify the gender and number of the phrase arim gdolot. Ward kind of ruined it for us because he already gave
ruined it,
arim
yeah.
the example. Yeah. So what's that mean? Ward, do you want to grab it since it's your
So a great city, great cities.
Plural, great cities, great. And so the gender and number are
Feminine plural.
feminine plural, and it's always going to be indicated by the ending of an adjective. If you have any doubt, most phrases in the Bible are going to have adjectives, right? So Not all of them, but a lot. So if you have any doubt about the gender, look at the adjective, because the adjective ending will never lie to you. Okay. All right, Hoshea, explain the mismatch of number
Number.
in the following verse. What do I mean by number? Remember, we have person, number, and gender, right? So when you read this verse, there's a mismatch.
Adonai ki Adonai.
Not
Oto.
Adonai, but Adonav.
Adonav. Okay na.
You see that spell?
Wait. Okay. Fayare Adonav ki Adonai Oto Bekol Asher Hu Ishe Adonai.
בכל אשר הוא עושה,
Ose.
אדוני מצליח בידו.
He Ose. Wait. Asa.
No, who עושה is fine. That's singular and singular.
Singular. Matzliach. Bidu.
Okay, Adonai Matzliach. That's Adonai is one and Matzliach is one, because otherwise it would be Matzlichim.
Matzlachim. Bidu.
So where do we see a mismatch?
Bidu. In their hand.
That's also singular. In his hand.
Yeah. His
That's
hand.
Joseph's hand, by the way.
Wait.
What is the number of this verb? If you do person, number, gender.
And then Adonav. That's
So Vayal is he saw.
He saw. Person 3 ms, but the ending of that is 3 plural, masculine plural.
Because this word is Ado. I don't hold the screen. Adonim. Adonim. That's plural. Adonim, and then when it drops the im, it becomes av for his. Adonav. If it were his master, singular, it would be Adono. Adon is master, and Adono is his master, just like Adoni is my master. So this is a plural ending, the im, the plural ending on Adon, Adonim, and this is a singular verb. Could you explain that mismatch? John, do you want to try to explain that for us? Why is there a mismatch?
Something else was happening here, and my attention escaped me.
That's okay. This verb is singular. He saw, and Adonav is actually Adonim with the third masculine singular ending. So it's a plural masters. It's like, and he saw his masters. That the Lord was with him, and everything he did, the Lord prospered in his hand. Okay, so what is this? His masters. Why is it masters and not singular? How would you explain that?
Treated as a collective.
It's kind of like the plural of majesty, right?
Plural of majesty.
The idea is, in my opinion, the idea is that anyone who has the power of life or death, if somebody controls whether you live or die, okay, then whenever it calls the master or Baal or Adon, it takes im, it becomes plural. So it also accounts for a business. Like if you own a business, then you can decide if you kill the business, you can just shut it down and have and close it up. So you are the Baalim of the business. You have total power over it. So this is saying that Potiphar had power of life and death over Joseph. He wasn't a regular master. He was his absolute master. Okay? That's the significance of the plural. It comes into play because in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Why is God plural? Right? Elohim is plural because this is the God that has ultimate power. And anytime that you have the most powerful god of a nation, any nation, use the plural. So the god of Moab is Chemosh. You call him Elohe Moab, not Elo Moab or Eloah. Elohe Moab. It takes the plural. Okay. Number 10. How many tenses does Hebrew have, and what are they? Ward. Kind of a trick question.
2. Perfect and imperfect.
Perfect and imperfect. Right. When we say tenses, do we really mean past and future, Moshe?
No.
Does perfect map to the past and imperfect map to the future? That's the question.
Usually it is translated as that, but it's more of completed and incomplete action.
And it's related to the tense that you're in. If you're talking in the past and you use the imperfect, it's the future of the past. It's not necessarily the future of now. So you would translate it as would.
Would.
Would is the future of the past. And if it's the past of the past, you would normally translate it as
perfect.
The perfect or the pluperfect. Had eaten, had gone.
Are the law consecutives thought of as separate tenses? Because when I looked at this, I wrote the answer to number 10, how many? So 0 or 2 or 4.
Or 4 or it's kind of a trick question. I generally consider that there's perfect and imperfect, and then you classify verb consecutive with perfect and verb consecutive with imperfect.
Perfect.
Which question is going to be, does the Hebrew verb express tense in any way? Because if we say that these are the perfect and imperfect, and we generally say they're past and future, but there really aren't, is there a real tense in Hebrew? So, that's a question.
The participle.
Participle. But participle will be used for all of the tenses, past, present, and future. It just means doing it. So, I will go.
Or the adverbs.
What you were saying? Something, Ward? Sorry.
My understanding at the moment is that tense is perhaps implied by the perfect and imperfect, but context is really the key to determining what the tense is.
So I would say that the tense of perfect and imperfect are relative. It is relative. That it's relative to the tense that you're talking in. If you're using the past tense, then it's the future of the past of the past. If you're talking about something in the future, then it's going to be like the future of the future, the past of the future. I know that's kind of weird, but we have that in English. Will have done something that's the future. It's the past of the future.
I guess that's kind of what I mean by context. You have to look at where the word is being used, and there you understand how to use it.
I would say that the only real tense that Hebrew has, and this is argued by John Cook, if you know him, or know of him, the only real tense that Hebrew has is the verb consecutive with imperfect. That is the narrative past. It's used as the narrative past. It's to tell a story in the past. So it's the only one that we know is talking about the past tense. There are some examples in the Bible that are not past tense, and it's about consecutive with imperfect, and we have to work around that and to explain it. Like there are tricks to explaining it. All right. What verbal conjugations does Hebrew have besides its two tenses? So you mentioned participles. We've got the perfect, imperfect, and participle, which in modern Hebrew is the present tense, generally. What are the
volatives?
What's that?
The volatives.
The volatives. What are the volatives?
The jussive, the cohortative, and the imperative.
Imperative, good. Okay, that's great. There are 3 more that you need to be, well, let's see.
I always forget. Oh no.
The
other verb.
There are 2 types of infinitives. What are the two
Uh,
types of infinitive?
Absolute. No,
Absolute and
and no, it's not construct.
yeah, it is. It is construct. It's
Yeah,
just
it
like
is
the states of noun. The states of a
nouns.
noun.
Yes.
The absolute will add intensity to the verb, like aloch, alachti. Haloch is the infinitive absolute. Sometimes it stands in place of an imperative, like we saw in the Ten Commandments. The infinitive construct is used for setting up time, and it's used for just speaking of an action. Okay, it's also used as complementary infinitives, like to go. I want to go to the store. That's an infinitive construct as well. All right, and there was one more infinitive construct, infinitive absolute, and
There are two types of participles. Or no, not that.
there's active and passive in the kal, but it's
Passive.
not
Not,
so.
not much. So that's not what you're looking for.
It doesn't matter. What are the 7 binyanim?
Mm.
This is where, as long as you are aware that there's the perfect, imperfect, participle, jussive, cohortative, imperative. That's what I was missing in my mind. I was not thinking of imperative. There's the 2 infinitives, absolute and construct. Okay, that's conjugations. So what are the 7 binyanim? John, do you remember some of them at least?
Call, the Nephal, Piel, Pual, Hitpael, Hifel, and Hoffel.
Hofal. Hifil and Hofal. Oh, fantastic. Do all verbal roots find expression in all of the binyanim?
No.
Oh.
No. Most of them don't go into more than 1 or 2. Most verbs are limited in their expression. Okay, so regarding the binyanim, what is the relationship between a root in the kal and the same root in the nifal generally? Ward, what do you think of that? Kal to the nifal.
Now, this is the area I'm probably weakest in here, but I would
Yeah,
say
that's
here,
why-
I would say call is the active and the nifal would be passive.
Yes. Nifal took over the function of the passive for the kal. Earlier on, before the biblical period, there was a real kal passive, and nifal was a different stem altogether. But they took on this relationship, and like we said, the kal passive is only left like what do you call the appendix that doesn't have any usage in the body? It's vestigial.
Vestigial.
Yeah, because in Latin, vestigia means footprints. So they leave footprints in the text. It's a vestigial stem, but it doesn't really exist in the biblical period. What is the relationship between a root in the kal and the same root in the piel, Hoshea? Kal to piel.
Intensive. Yeah, call it
The
intensive.
kal tends to intensify the root. It can also be causative. Okay,
Yes.
so for example, shamar, he kept.
Shamar, he kept.
Shimer, he preserved.
Preserved. Yeah.
Okay, shalach, he sent. Shileach, he sent away. Shavar, he broke. Shiber, he shattered. Okay, so there's that relationship of intensification.
So that explanation fits with very nice tidy chart that's in the basics of biblical Hebrew.
But it's not true though. The problem is it's not true because this exists only, like I said, when there is a kal root and then the PL is comparing to the kal. The problem that I have with that book and its explanation is that it wants us to think that PL is always intensified and it's always causative, but it's not. That's only in its relationship to the kal.
Okay.
So for the word diber, he spoke.
Yeah.
There is nothing intense about speaking. It just means he spoke. you know, and there are a lot of PL verbs that don't have any relation to any call root, and they don't mean anything like that.
That's
No.
very
So,
helpful comment.
What triggered my question earlier
Mhm.
today was, I don't have my right. Yeah, you can see it at the bottom of page 149 of our textbook, where for the
well, my textbook's way over there.
Piao, Pual, and Hifal, they talk about that group being causing a state,
Mhm.
such as making somebody big, I guess, or great.
Yeah.
Whereas Hifal and Hofal causing an action. And so there's that breakdown. Then Vandermeers, didn't pronounce it correctly, their reference grammar.
Mhm.
They seem to refuse to draw any generalizations.
I also don't like to draw generalizations. Like, I like to look at specific words and see how they, how they play out. It's hard to make these generalizations. I remember learning it when I was younger, and I thought, well, that's very convenient. But then whenever you look at the text, it just doesn't play out.
Didn't work.
Next, what's the relationship between a root in the kal and the same root in the hit field? We already said that really is generally causative. I got into an argument with somebody recently on the Hebrew who tried to convince me that all Hifil roots are causative, all of them. And that makes no sense whatsoever. What is the relationship of between a root in the kal and the same root in the hitpa'el? Ward, you got an idea about that one?
I'll give it my shot. I think that's kind of reflexive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of coming back
Normally,
on you.
it's not always the case, but it's a good thing to say. Yeah. So likshor means to tie, Lehit kasher means to make a connection, to be tied. Like two things are tied together. In modern Hebrew, it's used for calling someone on the phone. Ani mitkasher elav, I'm making a connection to him. That means calling him. All right. Does every nifal verb have a passive sense?
No.
No, absolutely not. Does every PL verb have an intensive or causative sense?
You
Absolutely
really have
not.
to nail this down.
Right. And so we ask about every root. No, this is not the case. What is the relationship between PL and PUAL?
The passive.
Yes.
The passive of PL is the Pual.
Fantastic. What about this one, John? The relationship between Hifil and Hufal.
Same thing, the Hofal, passive for Hifal.
Great. Okay. Now we are at weak verbs. That quick. What is a weak verb and how do we identify one? Ward.
It would be a verb that contains certain letters that behave funny, like the gutturals and noon.
Well, not really the gutter.
I guess so. That's like aleph, hey, het, ayin, resh, noon. I can't remember if there are any others or not, but a verb that contains one of those, so it's going to behave a little differently than a strong verb.
Right. A weak verb is one in which a letter disappears. It's specifically a one in which a letter disappears. It's not the gutturals aren't considered weak because the consonants do stand. Like they don't disappear. So we identify because many times it looks like a two-letter root because one of these drops out. Right? So ba, he came. You can see that it's a weak verb because there's two letters. Right? He beat. It says he looked at something, he beat. You can see that like this is part of the Hiphil stem, and this is part of the Hiphil stem. So what we see are two root letters, right? So that indicates to us that it's weak because one of the letters disappeared. Okay. Hey is also considered because whenever it's at the end of a word, it becomes yod, right? Whenever you say baniti, this yod is a reminiscent of that hey that's disappeared, right? So any of the letters that disappear, that's how we categorize the weak. Okay. What three things normally happen with vowel letters when they go into the various binyanim? What things can happen? We already said that weak, they can disappear, right? We said that.
Assimilate, like
They can assimilate.
cross-doubling to the next.
Okay, and they assimilate as dagesh generally, right?
Dagesh.
Dagesh forte. Dagesh chazak.
Is transform?
Yeah, we can say transform. They morph.
Transform.
They morph into something else, right? These are the three things. They disappear, assimilate, or transform into something else. That's the three things that they do.
So we're talking here about yod, vav, and hey.
Mm-hmm. And also, well, I said vowel letters, but it's any of the weak verb, any of the weak. So it can happen. Noon can disappear, right?
Right. I just didn't know.
Yeah. Even in the word lakach, the lamed disappears.
Yeah.
Lamed isn't normally a weak letter, but in that word it disappears. Okay, next. What happens to weak radical in a first vav or yod root in the nifal perfect and participle? And the same thing happens in the perfect and participle. That's why I included it. But what happens to the first yod? Let's think of the word yeled. Yeled is a boy, right? What happens to that first root in the nifal? That's a tricky one. We only covered these at the end of the course. Let's say we want to make it nifal. We want to make it nifal, so we add noon. What happens with that yod?
Does it get a dagash?
Not in this case. It becomes vav. Oh, nolad. Nolad, he was born. Okay, that first yod becomes o. So this is the past tense, and the participle is exactly like it, but with a long vowel in the second syllable. Nolad, being born. Okay. All right. What happens to it in the imperfect and the infinitives?
Perfect.
So we've got yeled.
Nulad.
But now we want to put it in the future. We add yod.
And the nifal will assimilate to the yod.
Okay, the noon assimilates into this one.
No,
yes.
sorry.
The noon assimilates, but what happens to the yod? It again changes to a vav.
Yolad, yeah.
So it's yi, va as a consonant. Yivaled. This is he will be born. Yivaled. The infinitive does the same thing. He valed. He valed. To be born. Being born. Okay. I know it's odd, but that's what it does. Not too important, but it's just for general knowledge. Like I said, you don't need to know all of the details here, but you need to be able to recognize that it's nifal. What happens to a weak radical of the third hey root in the perfect? We just talked about that just a second ago. It turns into yod.
Yod.
Like
before
baniti,
the suffix.
Asiti. Asa means he did or he made. Asa. And I did is asiti.
Asiti.
Okay. Asiti. Okay. what happens to a first guttural root in the call imperfect? Remember, the call imperfect is supposed to be like yish, yishmor. Okay, yishmor. But in the gutturals, instead of E, it takes a different vowel. The historical vowel.
Oh my. Can you give an example of one guttural? There.
This one here. So
Ose.
it is ose, but in the future,
That
ya,
Yeah.
ase.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the hatef in the guttural. Yeah.
So instead of E, it becomes ya, which is the actual historic vowel. That's it started. The imperfect began in Hebrew as ya, and then switched to E, probably to distinguish it from the other binyanim. So it made the kal sound different than the rest. All right, parsing. That's the end of the questions. This is parsing. This is all of these. Every one of these are the verbs from the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's start with John. Go Hosea and then Ward. John, number 1. 1, 2.
Looks like the
Start by
stem-
reading. Start by reading it,
Oh, okay.
and then do each one of these.
Hotse tika.
Mhm.
Looks like probably hopeful.
What do you think the root is? If we can identify that first.
All right.
Okay.
We talked
Probably-
about the nifal influencing one of the letters and making it turn into O. It also happens in the hifil and the hofal.
Yeah, it's
So probably with a yod.
Yeah. First yod and first vav. Okay, both of them will have O in all three of these stems. So it might look like hofal because it's got an O, but it's actually hifil.
And so it's hifil imperfect first person common singular.
Is it imperfect or perfect? Remember, the imperfect is a prefix tense. So it will have like
Right.
yod, taf, aleph, nun.
So second feminine singular, that's perfect.
Let's say T, that's the suffix.
Yeah. Obviously my answer was wrong.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sorry. It's the T ending. What is the T ending? Halachti, achalti, ratzipti. The T ending. Remember, the second person feminine is T.
Okay, so I'll go back to first person
Yeah.
singular, and then there's a second masculine singular pronominal suffix.
Okay, so hifil perfect, one CS with a 2ms suffix from the root yatsa. And the meaning is
don't know.
Okay, so yatsa means he went out, he left, he went out. Hotzi is the hifil. It means he caused to go out. Caused to go out. Caused to leave. He brought out. So if it's not he but I, then it's I brought out you. I brought you out. Okay? I brought you out. Okay? Hosea, next word.
Ye from stem kal conjugation imperfect.
How do you know it's imperfect?
The yod prefix, a prefix conjugation. Yeah.
Right, the prefix conjugation is going to have yod, it's going to have taf, aleph, or nun.
Yeah. PGN third person, gender masculine, and number singular. No. Yeah. Suffix nothing. Yeah. Root haya.
Okay.
Gloss I will be.
Not I, but
Yeah, he will be. Sorry.
he will be.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Next. Tase, word.
So tase. So this would be or third person feminine singular of he will make or she will make.
Yeah, with no suffix, it's going to be you.
You.
The second person.
No suffix. You, excuse me. I meant
Or
you will
she.
make or she will make.
Yeah. Or do. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to say before we move on, the T ending, whenever you have suffixes, oftentimes is second feminine singular. That is true. But we're parsing the Ten Commandments, and it's certainly talking about God saying, "I brought you out." So, and this one would certainly be second masculine singular because it's talking you will do, or you will not do in this case. You will not make for yourself a graven image. Okay. Wow, John, you keep getting the hard ones.
Yeah, I've been looking at this one.
I'll give this one because this one really is this one has scholars baffled. You know, today they argue that it is het vav hey, that's the root, and that the stem is
Ishtafel.
Yeah, that it starts with hishta. So it's hishta, and then it would normally be fel.
You will bow down.
El. Ishtaf el. But this is the only instance of this that's left in the Hebrew language, and it's ishtachave, or in the past, ishtachava. So this is stem ishtaf el, which is a weird stem. Conjugation, the imperfect, being used as a negative commandment. It's second masculine singular, suffix doesn't have any, and the root is chava. The gloss is you will bow down, but in this context, it actually says lo tishtachave. You will not bow down. So I'll give you this one instead, John. And this is O. Okay, that vowel right there is O.
There's a
of them. That's a O.
Also, okay. Ta'ov. Dame. The easy part is it looks like a second masculine plural suffix
but
at the end.
you can see that it's second masculine pretty clearly with this, but there's no plural. The plural is U. Ta'avdu.
I was looking at the pronominal suffix.
Oh,
at the
sorry.
end.
Okay. All right. So that's right. The suffix second masculine plural.
So I said that's
Or
the
third
easy part.
masculine plural. Third masculine
Oh,
plural.
third,
Then.
okay.
So we got rid of that. The vocalic structure is going to change a little bit.
No, I'm lost.
Ta'avdem means ta'avod otam. Otam is the them, which is that
Them.
suffix.
Serve?
And,
Serve.
yeah,
Avad.
to serve or to worship. It's like eved, slave. Eved. An eved is someone who is forced to work for someone else. And work is avad. Okay, so the future, because it's guttural here, it takes a instead of e, and we've got ta'avod. Ta'avod. So
You
stem conjugation.
imperfect.
Person, gender, number.
Sorry, my brain's come to a standstill.
It's second masculine singular. That's the tav prefix with no suffix. Okay, it's like you will do something. You will work. So it's you will work or you will serve them, which is 3MP. The root is avad, and the gloss is you will serve them. Okay. You see why?
I think so.
Ta'avod is the normal. It's because of the guttural, it has a instead of e, like tishmo.
Oh, okay.
The normal form would be tishmo, you will guard. So we've got the O here, just like we have the O here. Instead of instead of E, we have A. Okay, and then this vowel here is actually closing that syllable, ta'a. Ta'avod. Ta'avod, you will work. When you add the suffix, the M, that shifts around the syllables a little bit, and that O quality vowel drops down. So instead of...
Is that a usual thing with the holum disappearing, with that suffix going on? Or?
Yeah, when you add that aim ending, remember that the near syllable tends to reduce in verbs. The near syllable reduces in verbs, but it lengthens in nouns. And then we've got of them, and this one is ah. It's marked with meteg to say ah. Ta of them. Kind of an unusual form. For years and years, I read it as ta of them. I read it as ta of them. But then it was called to my attention, it's ta of them. This is O. Okay, next. What you got there?
Jason, I think at this point I will bow out, but come back and look at the video probably tomorrow.
All right. Well, thanks for your time today.
Okay, and thank you.
We'll see you later. What do we got
Poked.
here? Poked.
Poked. Poked. Stem. Kal.
Mhm.
Oh no. Participle.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
We're going to say
And
active. When
active, yeah.
we're dealing with call has
Mm.
active and passive.
Active and
So
passive.
active participle.
Active participle. So conjugation. I'm done with that. PGN.
Mhm.
Person. Third person.
Participles don't have person.
Yeah. Sorry. It's just singular.
Mhm.
Masculine.
Masculine
Because
singular.
no. It doesn't. It looks like a singular noun. Okay, I remember that. Okay, and then suffix non. Root. Pakad.
Cod.
Pakad. What's pakad?
Well, it sounds like you're saying pachad. Pachad means fear.
Kaya ano?
Pachad is
Pakad.
he was afraid, but pakad.
Pakad.
Mhm. This means he visited.
Visited. Yeah, visited.
So the
Okay.
participle would be visiting.
Visiting.
Mhm.
Pakad.
All right, next. Ward, what's this one?
We'll say
Mm-hmm.
the call
Mm-hmm.
active participle masculine
Mhm.
singular doing or making.
Great, with no suffix, doing or making of asa, right?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Next. Oh Hawaii.
Oh, have I?
Oh
Is it
Hawaii.
me? Oh, have I? A have. It's a have. I think
It
it is
is
a
a
have.
have. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the O there, oh, have I? Another participle.
It is a participle.
Active
And
participle.
so it's a
And
call,
then
active participle.
active participle. And then you have the yod at the end. That's a suffix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me go through. The stem is cal participle conjugation. PGN masculine singular still.
Not singular.
A
Plural.
plural.
The I ending means im.
Im.
It means im with me.
Okay. Me. I have. No. We love.
So the one's loving me.
Once loving me. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That is
Me.
people who love me. One's loving
me.
me.
So the suffix is still one ms.
Mm-hmm.
Ayan.
It's like ohavim, ohavim plus ot.
Yeah. OT. Yeah.
The one's loving me.
The ones. But if it's the one loving me, it will be
Ohavi.
V. Okay. Yeah.
Ohavi. Because then it's ohev, ot. Ohavi.
Okay.
The one who loves me.
Mm.
Ohavenu, the one who loves us. All right, what is this here? Word.
Shomre.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that's the participle again
Mm-hmm. It's call.
of
Active
call
participle.
active participle of shamar.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be, I'm guessing that's guarding me, the one
This
guarding
is just
me.
construct.
Or construct. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So this is
So it'd
a masculine
be a
plural
verb in construct. Well, it's a participle in construct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The one guarding. Yeah. In of course, you make participles construct. Yeah, they're a noun.
Yeah. So it's plural. So we're going to say the ones guarding. or those who guard, or those who keep. Okay, what it says is Shomrei mitzvotai. It's the verse mitzvotai. So mitzvotai means my commandments, and Shomrei mitzvotai are the ones keeping my commandments, the ones who keep my commandments, keepers of my commandments. Okay. The next one is Tisan. Tisan is from the word nasa, to
Nasa.
carry or lift up. Nasa. It is kal. Okay, it's kal. Imperfect. It is second masculine singular with no suffix from nasa, meaning you will carry or lift up. In this case, it's take up. It's take up God's name in like a vow. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. All right, yenake.
Oh no, I don't recognize this. Yenake. No. Is there a missing?
What's in the middle radical?
Kuf.
What's in the kuf?
Oh, there's a dagesh. Okay, no.
Yeah.
Dagesh. So something assimilated with something. Okay.
Not really. Not in this case.
Not in this case. Okay. So there's a doubling here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's intensive. The doubling intensive. There's yenake. PL. PL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, PL. And then imperfect.
Mm-hmm. Why is it imperfect?
Because of the prefix yod.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, prefix yod. And then PGN. Yod with prefix. The hey at the ending. No. Third person masculine singular.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then suffix none.
Mm-hmm.
Root. Naka.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a root? I forgot what naka means. Anyhow.
Well, also the root, remember the third hey is really third yod. The word is naki. Naki means innocent or clean.
Clean. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I will cleanse. He will cleanse. He will clean.
Yeah, it does mean that.
He
It
will
does
cause
mean
to be clean. He will,
in modern
PL.
Hebrew, we use it all the time for he will clean, yes. But in the Bible, in this case, it means he will hold someone innocent.
He will hold someone innocent. Okay.
Right?
Because
Whoever
of the PL
swears. Yeah, it's
because
PL.
of the PL. You will hold innocent.
Yeah. Isa and Tisa is the same. It's just this third masculine singular, so it's he will. Okay. All right, this is a nice one. Ward, what do you make of that?
I would say that is call imperfect of nasa.
13.
Number
So this
13.
would be,
Number 13.
on 13? Oh, I was doing 12. Okay.
Yeah.
Zakot.
Zachor.
So that's Zakor. Yeah, sorry. I don't know what I did. There's Zakor. So that's that is a is that an absolute infinitive to
Yeah,
find?
infinitive absolute, yeah. The A-O combination, A-O, is the infinitive absolute. Zachor. Zachor. Or that's a soft K. Zachor. Great. So kal, infinitive absolute. Infinitives don't have person, gender, or number because they're infinite, right? In this case, there is no suffix, and absolute won't take a suffix, but construct can. Notice that generally, if this is absolute zachor, then it makes sense that Zchol is the infinitive construct because we have the reduction of that first syllable. Zchol, right? Makes sense. Okay, so we've got that infinitive construct. What is the root?
Zahar, to remember.
To remember. And so Zachol is like remembering.
So this would be to remember.
Infinitive absolute is less to do something, and it's more the doing of it. Normally, it's not normal to use this as an infinitive, but it's used here as an infinitive where it says Zachol et Yom HaShabbat l'kadesho. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Normally, we would say like Zachol Zacharti. I have surely remembered. Zachol Zacharti. This is I have surely remembered. You shall surely die. Mot tamutun. Mot tamutu. You shall surely die. Mot. That's infinitive absolute. Normally it's used to intensify the verb. Okay. Next one, lekadesho.
Infinitive construct.
Yes. Of what stem?
A doubling there. PL.
Yes.
PL. So two, and then there's stem PL conjugation, an infinitive construct, PGN none, suffix the O there.
3ms.
3ms, yeah, 3ms.
In this case, it means it because it's talking about the Sabbath day. So it's it.
Kadash, root kadash, to sanctify, to make holy.
Yes.
Gloss.
Right.
You
so
to make him, to make it holy.
To make him or it holy. In this case,
to make him to it holy.
Okay, ta'avod, we did already whenever we looked at this one, right? Ta'avod, you will work, you will serve. Okay. So you shall, 6 days you shall work and do all of your labor, but the 7th day, and do is this one. 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. What is this here? Ta'avod ve'asita. Ward, what do you think of this one, asita?
Okay. Ve'asita. So that's from asa, lift up or to carry.
No, to
and
do.
Asa, to do, sorry. I was thinking of nasa. To do, it's perfect. And it's second
But it's got something
person.
before the perfect. So it's a
I was going to get
kal.
to that. It's vav consecutive.
Right.
Perfect.
So we're gonna say vav consecutive plus perfect. We're gonna put that with the conjugation.
Okay, and then it's second person masculine singular.
With no suffix. From asa, meaning.
Meaning side, and you will do.
Yeah. Good. So the perfect becomes basically a will with the verb consecutive. Very nice. Okay, asa, we just went over that. That means the past tense. He did. What is this one here?
Okay. Vayanak. Okay.
Observe the accent.
Yeah, the first.
Yeah, not vayanach, but vayanak.
Vayanak. Okay, vayanak. There's vav plus What's the root of this? Yun. Oh, wait. Is there an assimilation of a noun? Or
Nope.
so this is a PL? No.
Nope.
No. It happens because of the verb. That's why you have a dagesh there.
Yes.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
verb consecutive is formed with
Yeah.
dagesh in the
Yeah. Nach. And then what
So we're
could
gonna
be
say kal, verb
kal,
consecutive with
consecutive, the
imperfect.
imperfect. Yeah. So PGN, third person, masculine, singular.
Mhm.
There is no suffix. The root I cannot recognize. Wait, naka?
Nuach.
Nuach. Rest.
To
Okay.
rest. La
To
nuach.
rest.
Ah, hollow
Rest.
verb.
Yeah.
It's hollow.
Okay. To rest. And then gloss, rested. He rested.
Yeah. And he rested.
He rested.
God rested after he created the world. Vayanach Elohim bayom hashvi'i. God rested on the seventh day. Okay. All right. This one here. Word.
Berach.
Yeah.
This would be, boy. I think I'm probably wrong here, but it just looks like a call perfect to me.
But it's got
Second,
the A.
third person.
It's got the A there. Beirach, not barach.
I know.
Volitive.
Ah.
So one of the volatives.
Remember that one alternative of the PL is actually the PL. PL. Instead of PL, you'd have
Okay.
PL. And so this is a PL, but it's got the A in the second syllable. So like to pay, he paid, we say today shilem, but in the Bible it's written shilam, where the PL has the A. Okay, so in this case, we have one of those where remember the resh does not accept doubling.
Yeah, the doubling.
Okay, so you would like to say it like this.
Oh, okay.
You would like to say birech.
But no.
But the PL rejects the doubling, okay, and we say berech. But in the Bible, instead of berech, it says berach, like shilam.
Okay.
So the stem is.
So it's barak, to be blessed.
It's to bless, yeah.
To bless.
But the stem
And
is
then,
PL.
Oh, the hinder is.
What's
this is
PL?
PL or PL?
It's PL. PL is the name of it, even though it's EA. It's okay. It's just a variation of the PL.
Okay, so PL, third person masculine singular.
What's the conjugation?
It would be a PL.
That's a stem.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. Therefore, he blessed the seventh day. Right? Al ken berach Adonai et mashvi. So suffix, there's nothing. Root, barach, ki'ilu, and gloss, he blessed. All right. Let's cut. So I think we've done enough parsing. That's a lot.
Okay.
There are a total of 28 verbs in this 13 verse passage. So we'll go through them really, really fast. Vayikadeshehu, the Ehu ending means him. Yikadesh is the PL imperfect with the Yod, Vav consecutive. Okay, so it's Vav consecutive imperfect, and he blessed him. Kabed is imperative. Honor your father and mother.
Kabed.
Yarichun is like Yarichu. It's a hifil from arach. Hifil from arach, it's he'erich. He'erich.
Yeah.
He'erich means he lengthened. Ya'arichun, they will become long. Here it's a stative sense. Like your days will become long upon the land. You will have a long life on the land.
Participle.
Noten is a called participle, masculine singular. Obviously here it's the absolute, meaning he
Giving.
gives, giving.
Tirza.
Tirtzach means you will kill, you will murder. It's the kal imperfect second masculine singular of ratzach. Ratzach means he killed, he murdered. Tinaf, the naaf, ni'uf means adultery. Ni'uf.
Adultery. You shall adultery.
Ni'uf means adultery. So na'af means he committed adultery. So tinaf means you will commit adultery. So lo tinaf, you will not commit adultery.
Not commit adultery.
Lo tignov, you will not steal. Ganav, steal.
Ganav.
Lo ta'aneh bereyacha ed shaker, you will not bear false witness against your neighbor. The bearing witness, it says answering witness. You will not answer a false witness. And hamad is to really want something that belongs to someone else. Tachmod, it's also, you could also see here chataf patach. You could see tachamod. There's nothing to prevent it. Tachamod. Okay. Just like you have ta'aneh and ta'avod and all of that, it's that guttural can take chataf patach. All right, phrase translation.
Okay.
I'll take the first one, and we'll just run through them as quickly as we can. Vayidaber Elohim et kol hadvarim ha'ele. On the test you would write, and God spoke all these words, saying.
Saying.
And God spoke all these words, saying. Ward, what's this one?
Anohi Adonai Elohim Asher
Elohecha.
Elohecha, sorry. I'm reading too fast. Elohecha Asher Osetiha me Eretz Mitzrayim me Beit Avodim. I am
Avadim.
Avadim. Yeah, Avadim. I am the Lord your God who, and we just went through that verb, who brought you out from the land of Egypt, from the house of slavery.
If we want to transliterate this last phrase, Mi Beit Avadim. Mi Beit Avadim.
Avadim.
All right, next.
Lo yiye lecha Elohim acherim al panai. Okay. And you will not to you gods. There will be no gods to you apart from before me. There shall be no other gods before you. Me, before my face, my eye. Sorry, the eye.
It literally is upon my face.
Upon my
before
face.
Me. Notice that this is merchat hipcha. Okay, these two words go together. They're stuck together. So this is a phrase. Elohim acherim means other gods.
Gods.
Okay. Not there will be to you. Not there will be to you other gods upon my face. You will have no other gods before me. In front of me. All right. Number 4. This was miscopied. It's supposed to be lo.
Okay.
Lo ta'aselecha. Yeah, that's a mistake. Lo ta'aselecha chesel v'chol tmuna asher b'shamayim mima'al v'asher ba'aretz mitachat. So this is a negative command. You shall not. You will not. You will not make for yourself
yourselves
a statue, an idol,
Mm,
or any image.
mm,
And you shall not make for yourself an idol or any image which is in the sky above
from above
and which is in the earth below.
below. Okay, it's good.
All right, Lord.
Share Mayim
Ba mayim, let's patach.
Ba Mayim
Mhm.
Mitahat La'aretz.
Tachat.
Tahat.
In English, you like to swallow T's at the end of a word. You say like, what? Like instead of what, you say what.
Right.
But in Hebrew, you can't swallow that T. It has to be pronounced tachat. Tachat.
Tahat.
Va'asher
which-
b'mayim mitachat la'aretz. Mitachat.
and which is in the seas under the earth,
The waters.
the waters, excuse me.
Because seas would be yamim. Yamim. No, not like that. Yamim. All right, number 6. Hosea.
6. Lo tishtachave lahem velo ta'ov them. Yeah,
Yep.
them.
Mhm.
And you shall not worship them, and you shall not and worship them to them. You shall not bow down to them and
Good.
not serve them
Yeah, so
and or worship.
lishtachavot is to do obeisance, to bow down.
To them. Lahem.
Ki anochi Adonai Elohecha, ki anochi Adonai Elohecha, kana, poked avon avot al banim.
Visit.
Ki anochi Adonai Elohecha, Elkanah, a jealous God, poked avon avot al banim.
Visit.
For
Sin.
I, the Lord your God, am,
Your son.
we're going to assume the word am, a jealous God, Elkanah, a jealous God, poked, visiting, avon, avot, the sins of the iniquity of the fathers upon sons. Iniquity of fathers upon sons. Okay? It's, not a good picture. Ward number 8.
So al shirashim ve'al ribaim li sheneh. Sheneh. Le shenah.
Le
Le
so.
shoneh. Le noshe'ah.
Let's make it a little bigger. Maybe you can. Oh, what happened? Come back. How do I make it bigger? Oh, like this.
I can see it fine. That's not the problem.
I really don't know how to. Oh, with control. There we go.
So le sho.
That's
Le
an S.
shoneh av.
Le so. That's an S.
Le shoneh
Le
av.
so ne I.
Le shoneh I. Yeah,
Le son
Le
I.
shoneh I.
So le son I. Sone means hating. And sonim.
Soneh. So hating me.
Are, yeah, but it's plural.
The ones, the ones hating me.
Mm-hmm. The ones who hate me. Great.
For 30 and, or 3 times and 4 times the ones hating me.
I think it's supposed to be like, because it's talking about fathers to sons. So I think it's 3
The
generations.
thirds and the fourths.
And 4 generations. I don't think these words are used anywhere else. I think they're special to this.
Okay.
Okay. Jonathan, do you want to read? Where are you? In the dark.
Yeah.
and silent.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you're outside.
I am outside. Yep.
Do you want to read this verse?
Which one? Number 9?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm on my phone, so it might take me a while. So v'oseh chesed la'alam la'al shoot la'alafim la'ochavai u'l'shomarei mitzvotai. Sorry.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do chesed to the thousands and
Mm.
the lovers oh havai
Lovers of me.
lovers of me, yeah, lovers of me, and the guardians of the guardians of the commandments of my commandments.
Of my commandments, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, to lishmo mitzvah means to keep it. You keep a commandment. Good. So chesed is kind of untranslatable, right? It means being faithful to someone. Oseh chesed is to
covenantal loyalty.
Yeah, to be loyal, to be faithful.
Yep.
This is the word where we hit a Hasidic Jews. It comes from this, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Chassid. In this case, I think it's supposed to be like showing kindness. Oseh chesed la'alafim, showing kindness to the thousands, to those who love me and those who keep my commandments.
Yeah, so that goes back to the covenantal loyalty.
Yeah, if you're obedient, then he's gonna love you. He's gonna be nice. All right, Hoshea, number 10.
I dropped in here for a minute.
And
I have to go have dinner, so if you're still here, I'll come back.
All right, we'll see you later.
All right.
so,
Hey, you guys have done a great job. Great
Thank you.
job.
thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. All right, I'll see you folks.
See
Bye-bye.
you. Lo tisa et Shem Adonai Elohecha la shave. Okay. And you
Ignore that. That's the end of the word. Lashav.
la shav. Okay. And you shall not lift up by the name of you shall not swear. Can I?
But there's no by.
Uh,
It's not by. It's you shall not
with
take up the name.
with the name. You shall not
No,
take up
just
the
it's
name.
the direct object. Take up
Direct
the
object.
name.
You shall not take up the name of Adonai. Take up the name of Adonai, your God.
Mm-hmm.
Adonai, your God. Lashav. To shav. Shava. To swear? To swear? Is this the swear part?
Shav means emptiness or vanity.
Emptiness and vanity. Okay.
Or so you shall not do it for vanity. You shall not do it in vain.
In vain. Take the name. Yeah. That command. Okay. Take the name in vain. Okay.
The idea is that if you use God's name for an oath, you must intend to fulfill your oath. You cannot give. You should not give an empty oath using God's name. Okay. Number 11. Kilo yanake Adonai.
We just read that.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry. Different.
Kilo yanake Adonai et asher yisad shmo lashav. For the Lord will not account innocent. He will not hold innocent a person who takes his name in vain.
In vain.
Or who will take his name in vain. Oh, that's the last one. Okay. So all we have left are the reading aloud passages. That's this is the commandment about the Sabbath. It's a commandment about the Sabbath. Then we have the 2 daily reading passages. So read them as fluently and prettily as we can. All right. And during the test, like during the audio portion, I'll pull these up and I'll just ask you questions about pieces of it.
Which passage is this?
This is one of the 10 commandments. I think it's the fourth.
Oh, okay.
Fourth
Yeah.
commandment is remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. The fifth commandment is honor your father and mother.
Right.
All right. So
Hashabat, lekadesh, lekadesho, sheshet yamim ha'avod, va'asita kol melachtecha ve'yom hashivi'i
from Sheva, 7.
Shabbat,
The year 7.
Shabbat, Shabbat la Adonai.
You gotta pronounce those
Shabbat.
T's on the ends of words.
Shabbat la Adonai Elohecha.
Gotta hear that T.
Shabbat. Okay.
Not Shabbat. Not Shabbat. Shabbat.
Shabbat.
Yes.
Shabbat.
Yes. Pronounce that T.
Shabbat. Got it. Okay. Shabbat la Adonai Elohecha. Lo ha'aseh kol melakach ata melachach ata.
You like to double up those You like to say melachach when it's melacha. You notice that?
Okay. Ata u dinhach.
Bincha.
Dinhach u vitecha avdecha u avdecha u amatecha. How do I know that?
It's va'amatecha. The
Actually, it'll be before this.
The meteg that's right there by the kamatz tells you that that's an open syllable, which means that the shva here is vocal and goes with the next syllable.
Okay.
Va'amatecha.
Va'amatecha uvehemtecha uvetecha.
You see the techa because the mark is on top of it. You see the top, that's the accent.
Uvetimtecha.
Uvehemtecha.
Uvehemtecha. Uvetimtecha. Ugerchach.
Vegerecha. Like we have this one, this is amatecha, this gerecha.
Gerecha. Asher bi sa'arecha.
Okay, this one is sh, bish.
Bisharecha. Bisharecha. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha shamim ve'et shamayim ve'et haaretz ve'et hayam ואת כל אשר בם. ביום, ביום,
ויה, וינח,
וינח, ביום השביעי, על כל,
על כן,
על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו.
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 Okay, all right. Let's go back to the beginning and run through it rather quickly. Zachor et Yom HaShabbat lekadesho. Sheshet yamim ta'avod ve'asita kol melachtecha. Ve'yom hashvi'i Shabbat la'Adonai Elohecha. Lo ta'aseh כל מלאכה, אתה ובנך וביתך, עבדך ואמתך ובהמתך, וגרך אשר בשעריך. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, את הים ואת כל אשר בם. וינח ביום השביעי, על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת, ויקדשהו. Okay. Hosea, you want to read through that again?
Okay. Am I in mute? No. Okay. So, Zachor et Yom HaShabbat lekadeshu. Sheshet.
That's an O.
לקדשו. 6 ימים תעבוד ועשית כל מלאכתך. ויום
Notice that the aleph here is completely useless.
quiescent. מלאכתך. ויום השביעי שבת לאדוני אלוהיך. לא תעשה כל מלאכה אתה ובינך
אתה ובנך
וביתך עבדיך ואמתך ובהמתך וגרך אשר בשעריך. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את המים ואת הארץ. השמיים ואת הארץ. את הים ואת כל אשר בם. וינח ביום השביעי על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו.
Yep, ויקדשהו. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This one we dealt with in the last section of the course, so I'll just read through it quickly. Just try to remember what we went over in the past. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Again, we're using hashamayim and haaretz just as we did in the last passage. Ve'haaretz hayta tohu vavohu ve'choshech al pnei tehom ברוח אלוהים מרחפת על פני המים. ויאמר אלוהים יהי אור, ויהי אור. וירא אלוהים את האור כי טוב. ויבדל אלוהים בין האור ובין החושך. ויקרא אלוהים לאור יום, ולחושך קרא לילה. ויהי ערב, ויהי בוקר, יום אחד. Okay, and this is from the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. You see that mitzavacha is mitzaveh otcha. The cha is the suffix, and it's dropped the hey. It dropped the hey. Mitzaveh.
Mitzaveh. It's the mitzvot or
it's commanding.
mitzvah.
Mitzaveh is a PL. Excuse me, I put that not in the middle of the word.
This is a participle, right?
Yes, it's a participle. Mitzaveh. The participle with the third hey in the PL. And the hey drops off and it adds a suffix, mitzavacha, commanding you. So asher anochi mitzavacha hayom, that's which I am commanding you today. Okay? V'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha beveitecha, that's infinitive construct. You're sitting, in your sitting.
You're sitting.
Beveitecha, in your house. Uvelechtecha vaderech, this is halach. Halach, that has dropped the hey and it's added the taf, just like yashav dropped the yod and added the taf for the infinitive construct. Vaderech, okay, uvelechtecha vaderech, when you walk on the way. Uveshochbecha uvekumecha,
and when you rise up.
When you get up. Ukshartam, the ta is you, and the mem is them. You shall tie them. So this is vav consecutive with perfect, kashar, and second masculine singular with a suffix of a third masculine plural. Ukshartam, and you will tie them. Leot al yadecha, for a sign upon your hand. V'hayu letotafot ben enecha. Uchtavtam, the same form. Okay, if we see ukshartam, uchtavtam, it's the same form. This is you will tie, and this is you will write. You will write them upon the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Okay, that is the entirety of our review and coverage. That was a lot of stuff thrown in there for you. Do you have any questions? A lot of stuff we went over.
I had a lot of questions, but I can't think of any right now.
Because there's a lot.
All right. If you watch over this again and find something that that wasn't clear or that you want to ask about, ask on the chat or
maybe,
the group.
Maybe what are the test types, if you can call it that?
Test types?
Yeah. Is there a reading part? Is there a written part?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. The reading of these sections we just went over.
Okay.
Where you need to read them. I'll pull pieces from them for translation as well.
Okay.
Oh, so we're actually going to do these 3 passages?
Yeah, I mean, these were our daily reading passages, the last 2. And the Ten Commandments is our latest reading, and it's an important passage to be familiar with.
Okay.
But, but just this part of the Ten Commandments or the whole Ten Commandments?
Yeah, I think we'll just do the Sabbath commandment because at least in Judaism, it's like it's very important. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's a pretty flag right there, Israeli flag, and it says Toda
Blue and
Rabba.
white.
Toda rabba.
Toda
Yeah.
Rabba. Thanks very much. V'sheyeh lechem b'atzlacha. And may you guys have success. May you be successful in your test and everything. So,
Thank
all
you.
right.
Yes.
Anything that you want to cover before we let go?
I'm good.
This
I'm
is
good.
our
I
this
think
is our
I'm good.
final session. The only thing left to do is the exam.
Exam. Yes.
We're done.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's been a long road.
Mhm.
It's been a great
Yeah.
road. It's been really good.
I'm gonna miss meeting you guys every year, twice a week. This is gonna be weird, but maybe we'll continue some other way.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna stop
Are
the
you-
recording now. Thank
Okay.
you, YouTube people. This is our final video, so please like, subscribe, hit the bell, and continue learning Hebrew.
Mm.